This video is intended for students taking the CCNA second course, Routing and Switching Essentials. This is your final exam. I'm going to do it in 5 parts. Part 1 is your basic configs and router on a stick. So the first thing when we look at our exam, we're going to have to do router on a stick, and we're going to have to break down 100.111 into a group of 50 hosts and 20. So your subnetting is down here of 100.111.0, an increment of 64, and the network ends at 63, 255, 255, 192, subnet mask, and then we have a group of 20. So it's 100.111.64 is the next network. It's going by 32s, so it ends at 95. So you'll have 255, 255, 255, 224. So let's get going on the configs. So the first config we're going to look at is the basic configs. So you can see here, I'm going to go ahead and copy these. I recommend everyone typing these out, handwriting them to memorize them. But for this video, for time purposes, we're going to just paste them. So get into enable, config T, and I'm going to go ahead and paste. And once I look through each command line by line, it doesn't give me any errors, so that's good. So down below is my switch config. So I'm going to go ahead and this time I'm going to go through the terminal like you would in real life. And then once again, paste and look line by line for those. So once that config is done, we're going to look at the router on a stick. So first thing we're going to configure is the router. So you'll see the gigabit in your sub interfaces. So go into terminal, memorize these settings here. First thing we do is go into gigabit 00. Now we shut down. And we go to gigabit 00.100, which creates a sub interface. So now it's virtual interface, so it comes up automatically. You must encapsulate the VLAN number, so it puts the correct VLAN tag on going into the router and out of the router. So we'll go back into gigabit 00, make 300 sub interface. I like to arrow up to save time on all my typing. But just we don't have the IP address. So 100.1.1.1, 255.255.255.192. Oh, well, that was the wrong interface. So we're encapsulation at 300 because we're in interface. And this IP will be starting at 64. So we'll do 65. Now, did I forget to put the IP on? So I'm going to do show run and look at my sub interfaces, and I didn't. So we need to go back to interface, sub interface gigabit 100. When you make a mistake, all you have to do is go back and retype the command and it replaces it. So the IP 100.1.1.1 with 255.255.255.192. So that's it for the router. Now down here is the switch config. So go into the switch PC and terminal. And let's do the interface range so we can get all the access ports configured at one time. FAS 0/1 -10. Now we're interface range, switch port, access. Doesn't matter which command, but I like to do mode first. So now switch port mode access, switch port, access, VLAN 100. So now all these ports will have a membership of VLAN 100. Use the interface range again to go into 11 through 20. Once again, switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 300. So now if we want to name them, you go into VLAN 100, name, students. They're already named. I named them in the last config. So if I show VLANs, do show VLANs. You can see that I have students and also admin. So they were named in a previous configuration. So now we have to configure the IPs. So it's interface VLAN 100, IP address 100.1.1.1 was used for the router. So we'll use .2. With 192 is your subnet mask. An interface VLAN 300. Change it to 224 for the subnet mask. And then go back. Our network starts at 64, so make this 65. And that's it. So look at my PCs, make sure they have IPs on them. This is VLAN 300, so it started at 64. It's got a 67, and the default gateway is 65, which is the sub interface. Same as this PC. If we look at IP, we used 1 and 2 for router switch. Now we're using 3 here. Default gateway is 1. So at this point, what I'm going to go ahead and do is ping my gateway. So we have a problem somewhere. So let's double check our IP. Looks correct. We didn't configure the trunk port on the switch. That's a common mistake. Interface, and you can see that the trunk port going to the router has got to be gigabit 0/1. So gig 0/1. You have to encapsulate switch port mode trunk. And once you do switch port mode trunk on the new switches, it automatically turns encapsulation on .1Q. I'm going to fast forward time so the switch gets the interface up. And now let's go back to ping the gateway, and it replied. So if I can ping the VLAN 300 gateway, which was 65, that means that router on a stick's working. So now I can go to 66, which I believe was a switch. '67 would be the PC. And since it replied, I'll do it again. So all the remember, your first ping normally will time out and not get to the network. So that is router on a stick, step 1, complete.